Okay, good morning, welcome to
FamilyMath number 1097.
Math1097. So today we're going to look at some coronavirus graphs to get a little bit of an understanding of how the pandemic is different in different parts of the country, or has been different in different parts of the country. And the first thing we're going to do in this segment is look at some maps that I made for Massachusetts and Texas. So here is a map of how the virus spread across Massachusetts. This is the number of cases by county, weighted by population.
All right.
So I'll just let this run. So blue is basically 0, and red is 2,500 cases per 100,000 people.
All right.
So what do you notice when you see this?
Well, it looks like, so we start off blue, and then it looks like the Boston area, I think that's a small area here, gets hit the hardest by a significant amount, and then the places around that seem to get hit pretty hard, like up here.
Yeah, and by the way, this goes from middle of January to the end of June.
Okay.
I accidentally used the wrong data set and didn't do the last 4 days, but it doesn't matter.
But yeah, it looks like the majority of Massachusetts gets hit significantly hard. It's mostly in the yellow. There's a couple like light blue over here, and this one's kind of strange right here. This one's just kind of stays white.
Yeah, white is still 1,000 cases though, per 100,000.
It looks like the majority of Massachusetts gets hit pretty hard.
Okay, so let's look at Texas, which is having a very big outbreak right now in cases. Sorry, I don't remember if I put Texas. That's Texas deaths. Where's Texas cases? Oh, here they are. Okay, so let's start this at the beginning. Again, this is the same time period with the same color scaling. So, virus cases weighted by population.
Yeah, so
from January through the end of June.
We shouldn't expect for there to be a lot, right? Until right about the end. Yeah, you can like right at the end you start to see the red ones. But it still doesn't look like it's spread over most of the state yet.
So what would you say is different about this graph compared to what happened in Massachusetts?
Well, looks like in the beginning there's just some individual counties that have a lot of cases, but the state, all the other counties basically have none. But just right at the end, you can start to see they're all, just like the state as a whole starts to lighten.
Yeah, so what does that mean happened differently in Texas compared to Massachusetts? At least one thing that happened differently.
Well, the spread, the cases started rising a lot later.
Yeah, it was later. It got hit much later than Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I think because the counties here are more, I guess, uniform. They're kind of like grid lines. You can kind of see where things start and then how they spread a little bit easier.
Yeah, that's true. Although we'd have to look at the population too. Although I guess I did population weight this. But now I want to show you deaths. So yeah, so this is deaths per 100,000 people in Massachusetts by counties. This time blue is 0 and red is, I think, 150. So the top,
right.
If it goes above 150, I just color it red. So here are the deaths in Massachusetts.
All right.
So what are you seeing here?
It seems to be more of a gradual climb.
It's also a slightly different picture. Like, this county here, in the cases graphs, didn't look like it was hit that hard, but it looks like it was hit more in deaths. So there weren't a lot of cases, but more of those cases resulted in deaths here.
Okay. That's a good thing to notice.
And this one up here was hit hard in both cases and deaths. And then this one was really light-ish in cases, again, kind of like this one, but was heavy in deaths.
Okay. Now we'll take a look at Texas, the deaths from Texas. All right. So let's go back to the beginning. This is again same deaths per 100,000. blue is, down towards 0, and then red is above 150.
I mean, it's like it's halfway and we haven't seen too many.
It's sort of the same like story as it. The graph tells the same story as the cases graph, that the outbreak started later in Texas.
Mm-hmm. It's just starting to pick up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of low for most of it, and then right at the end you see some spots that have higher deaths, but nothing as high as Massachusetts has.
Yeah, so it's interesting that with the later outbreak that's happened in Texas, cases are starting to rise to very high levels. But there's probably not one single reason for it, but for some reason or some combination of reasons, the number of deaths in Texas, so this will be, the last picture here is end of June, just hasn't gotten up to the Massachusetts, anywhere near it. In fact, the whole state's almost still blue.
Yeah.
There's still just like some areas that
Yeah.
have a lot of deaths, but still not as many.
Yeah, so it's pretty surprising. All right, so we're going to take a look now at a couple different ways to look at the data rather than these geographic charts.
Right.